Hello everybody. Today I'm going to be talking about the Lost Colony. That is a name that was given to the Roanoke colony as it literally just disappeared off the face of the planet. There have been a couple clues spread out over time, but really there's been no definitive explanation as to what happened to the place. Alright, let's get started. We're going to begin with the history of the Roanoke colony. So, the Roanoke colony, often referred to as the Lost Colony, remains one of the most enduring mysteries in American history. Established in 1585, Roanoke was the first English settlement in the New World. The New World refers to what is now known as the United States, where I live. Predating the Jamestown colony by 22 years, the Roanoke colony was founded by Sir Walter Raleigh. Raleigh? R-A-L-E-I-G-H, Raleigh, right? Raleigh, I'm stupid, sorry. An explorer who was granted a charter by Queen Elizabeth I to establish a colony in North America. We'll just say his name is Ralph. Ralph? We'll just say his name is Ralph because I'm kind of stupid. Ralph himself never set foot on Roanoke Island, which is located in present-day North Carolina, but he sponsored expeditions to establish the settlement. The history of Roanoke is generally divided into two primary expeditions. The 1518 expedition, led by Ralph Lane, and the 1587 expedition, led by John White. Alright, let's start with the 1585 expedition. The first expedition aimed at establishing the Roanoke colony set sail in April 1585, consisting of 7 ships and approximately 600 men. The expedition was led by Sir Richard Grenville, good lord, I need to read. Ralph's cousins, or Ralph, the main guy, the first expedition sender, his cousin, who served as the fleet's admiral. The ships arrived at Roanoke Island in August 1585, but the situation quickly took a grim turn. Relations with the indigenous good lord. Okay, so we'll just say native people. Relations with the indigenous people. Indigenous people deteriorated, which led to open conflict. The colonists faced significant challenges, including shortages of food and supplies, and morale among the settlers plummeted. Ralph Lane, who led the men on the ground, attempted to establish a military outpost rather than a self-sustaining colony. This focus on militarization over sustainability led to a reliance on the local indigenous tribes for food and other resources, which further strained relations between the settlers and the natives. After a harsh winter and failed attempts to find valuable resources like gold, the colonists decided to return to England in 1586. They left the island aboard a ship led by Sir Francis Drake, who arrived at Roanoke during a military expedition against the Spanish. The first attempt at colonization was considered a failure, but it provided important lessons for the English, who were determined to make a second attempt. Alright, now we'll move to the 1587 expedition. The second expedition and more famous expedition arrived at Roanoke in 1587. It was like 30 years later. Under the leadership of John White, an artist and cartographer who had been part of the 1585 expedition. Unlike the previous military-focused venture, this expedition included 17 women and 9 children, indicating intentions of permanent settlement. John White was elected governor of the colony, and his mandate was to establish a self-sustaining settlement. White faced a dire situation from the onset. Not only were relations with local tribes strained due to the actions of the previous settlers, but the colony had also limited supplies and faced constant threat of Spanish attacks. Shortly after the colony was established, it was decided that White would return to England to gather more supplies and reinforcements. And this is where the enigma begins. White was delayed in England due to the Anglo-Spanish War and was unable to return to Roanoke until 1590, which was about 3 years later. Upon his return, he found the colony deserted with no trace of the settlers except for the word Croatoan, carved into a post, and crow etched into a tree. Despite attempts to find the lost colonists, including an expedition to nearby Croatan Island, now Hatteras Island, White was unable to determine the fate of the settlers, and the Roanoke colony entered the annals of history as the lost colony. Now we'll go on to the second part of the history of Roanoke. So the disappearance of the Roanoke colony had led to numerous theories over the years, each attempting to explain what could have happened to the 115 colonists. While none have definitively solved the mystery, there are several plausible explanations based on historical context, archaeological evidence, and colonial records. So the first is integration with the indigenous tribes. One of the most widely accepted theories suggests that the colonists, faced with dwindling supplies and the harsh reality of the new land, decided to integrate with the local indigenous tribes. The word Croatoan, carved into a post at the colony, could point toward the Croatan tribe, who lived on what is now known as the Hatteras Island. The Croatan tribe were part of the larger native population and were known to have traded with earlier English expeditions. However, subsequent investigations, including one led by John White, found no conclusive evidence to support this theory. Spanish attack. Another theory posts that the colony fell victim to a Spanish attack. At the time, Spain was the dominant European power in the New World, and the English were their staunch enemies. The Spanish had established a stronghold in Florida and had a vested interest in quelling English attempts to gain a foothold in North America. While this theory could explain the colony's disappearance, there is scant evidence to support it. Spanish records, usually meticulous in detailing military exploits, do not mention an attack on Roanoke. Internal strife and relocation. A less commonly proposed theory suggests that the colony suffered from internal strife, leading to its dissolution. According to this theory, the settlers, disenchanted by the lack of supplies and difficult conditions, chose to disband and either integrate with indigenous tribes or attempt to return to England by building their own boats. This could explain why the settlement was found abandoned and fortified, as if prepared for both internal and external threats. Historical impact. While the Roanoke colony is often viewed through the lens of its mysterious disappearance, its historical impact extends beyond the enigma. The colony served as a precursor to late English attempts at colonization, including the successful establishment of Jamestown in 1607. Despite its failure, Roanoke provided valuable lessons in the logistics and challenges of overseas colonization, from the importance of maintaining good relations with indigenous peoples to the necessity of adequate supplies for survival. Moreover, the legend of the lost colony has had a lasting impact on American culture and historical inquiry. It has spurred interest in early American history and has become a symbol of the challenges and mysteries that early settlers faced. Even as historians and archaeologists continue to search for clues, Roanoke remains a cautionary tale of the perils and uncertainties that characterized the European colonization of the New World. Modern discoveries. The allure of the Roanoke colony has not diminished with time. Rather, modern technologies and methods have invigorated the quest to solve this 4-century-old mystery. Recent archaeological digs, reviews of historical accounts, and even DNA testing have been employed in the hopes of unraveling the enigma. Archaeological excavations. Several archaeological excavations have taken place around the area of Roanoke Island and Hatteras Island, formerly known as Croatan Island, in an attempt to find physical evidence that could shed light on the fate of the colony. Some of the most prominent excavations, I keep wanting to say evacuations, but it's excavations, have been led by the First Colony Foundation, a non-profit organization focused on researching the early English colonies in America. In 2012, researchers announced the discovery of what is known as the Ring of Enigmatic Earthworks around the original settlement's location. These appear to be fortifications or defensive works, potentially lending credibility to theories that the colonists faced imminent threats, either from indigenous tribes or from the Spanish. However, the data has been inconclusive. Another fascinating discovery is the Dare Stones, a series of engraved stones purportedly written by Eleanor Dare, a member of the colony and the daughter of John White. The stones, discovered in the 1930s, detail the hardships the colonists faced and suggest they moved further inland. While initially considered a promising lead, the stones were later largely dismissed as a hoax, although a debate still continues among some researchers. DNA testing and genealogical research. In one of the most innovative approaches to solving the mysteries, researchers have turned to DNA testing to find descendants of the lost colony. The Lost Colony of Roanoke DNA Project aims to collect DNA samples from people with surnames that match those of the Roanoke colonists to find potential matches with Native American populations. While this method is still in its infancy and faces numerous challenges, including the dilution of genetic material over generations, it offers a revolutionary new avenue for investigation. Analysis of historical documents. Modern technologies has also enabled researchers to scrutinize historical documents in unprecedented detail. Using advanced image techniques, scholars have been able to determine John White's maps with greater precision. One remarkable discovery was a patch on one of White's maps that, when studied, revealed what appears to be a fort symbol underneath. This had led to speculation that the colonists may have planned to move to this location, known as Site X, situated about 50 miles west of Roanoke Island. Excavations of this site have yielded some 16th century artifacts, although their connection to the Roanoke colonists remain unproven. The ongoing research and discoveries related to the Roanoke colony have significant implications for multiple fields, including history, archaeology, anthropology, and even genetics. While none of the findings so far provide a definitive answer to the fate of the lost colony, they do enrich our understanding of the early colonial life and the complexities of human exploration and settlement. For example, the fortifications found around the original settlement site challenge earlier assumptions that the colonists were ill-prepared for the hostilities they might face. This could imply that the colony had a more sophisticated understanding of military defense than previously thought, or that they encountered challenges that necessitated such fortifications. Either way, this adds a layer of nuance to our historical understanding of the colony. Additionally, the ongoing DNA research could revolutionize not just the study of the Roanoke colony, but also the broader study of early American history by identifying genetic links between modern populations and those of the 16th century. Researchers can construct a more detailed picture of the population movements, cultural exchanges, and perhaps even solve older historical mysteries. Now let's look at some of the challenges and criticism. Modern discoveries are not without their challenges and criticisms. For example, DNA research in its context is fraught with ethical and methodological complications. The identification of descendants or relatives could have unintended social consequences, and there's also the issue of obtaining DNA samples from Native American tribes who may be weary of outside interference or exploitation. Archaeological excavations also face scrutiny. The nature of the findings often lead to more questions than answers. The critics argue that without definitive proof, these discoveries can only offer speculation. Funding is another obstacle. Given that these are long-term projects requiring substantial resources, there's ongoing debate about whether the quest to solve the mystery of the lost colony is worth investment. Future research. Despite the challenges and controversies, the future of research in the Roanoke colony looks promising. With each new discovery, we edge closer to possibly solving one of America's oldest mysteries. Advances in technology, such as ground-penetrating radar and more sophisticated DNA sequencing techniques offer the potential for even more significant findings in the coming years. In a broader sense, the search for the lost colony serves as a testament to the enduring human desire for exploration and understanding. Whether or not the mystery is ever conclusively solved, the journey itself enriches our collective history, offering insights into the challenges and complexities that shaped the early chapters of American histories. Okay, now we're going to get into the crazy part. Let's delve into some of the conspiracies. The enigmatic disappearance of the Roanoke colony has not only piqued the interest of historians and scientists, but has also captured the public's imagination, giving rise to a plethora of conspiracy theories. These theories range from the plausible to the fantastical, each adding a layer of intrigue to an already complex historical puzzle. In this section, we will explore some of the most prominent conspiracy theories surrounding the lost colony. So there's some supernatural theories. One of the most enduring set of theory posts that the disappearances of the Roanoke colony was due to supernatural forces. Given the colony's historical context, which included a belief in witches, demons, and other supernatural entities, it is perhaps not surprising that these theories have found a foothold. The witchcraft theory. Some claim that the colony fell victim to witchcraft or demonic forces. This theory often draws on the writings from the period, which reflect a deep-seated fear of witchcraft. Supporters point to the mysterious circumstances surrounding the colony's disappearance and the lack of any definitive physical evidence as suggested of supernatural intervention. However, there's no concrete evidence to sustain these claims, and they are generally dismissed by academics. The lost colony as the lost tribe. Another version of the supernatural theory proposes that the Roanoke colonists became what is mythologically known as a lost tribe, perhaps even ascending to another dimension or plane of existence. While fascinating to consider, this theory is based more on speculative fiction than any tangible facts. Nevertheless, the notion of the lost colony as a lost tribe has been popularized in various forms of media, including books, movies, and television shows. Alien abduction. Oh, come on, we couldn't do one without alien abductions in them. In a modern twist, some theories suggest the lost colony was abducted by extraterrestrials. Proponents argue that the sudden disappearance of the settlers, coupled with the lack of physical evidence and the cryptic Croatoan message, are indicative of an encounter with beings from another world. Though entertaining, this theory is largely considered to be in the realm of science fiction and has been the subject of various pop culture interpretations rather than serious academic inquiry. Government cover-up. In the era of fake news and widespread conspiracy theories, some people claim that the truth about the Roanoke colony is known but has been covered up by the government for unknown reasons. This theory taps into contemporary distrust in governmental institutions and the belief that the public is not told the whole truth. However, given the historical distance and the changes in governments and institutions over the past 400 years, this theory is widely regarded as implausible. Time travel and alternative realities. As we venture farther into the realm of speculation, some theories suggest that the disappearance of the Roanoke colony involves time travel or alternative realities. In these theories, the colonists are either accidental or deliberate participants in a leap through time or into another dimension. The lack of concrete evidence in this view is because the colony exists but has been moved to another timeline or reality. The popularity of this theory, much like the alien abduction narrative, is fueled more by its prevalence in popular culture rather than any academic or scientific backing. Science fiction literature and shows have often exploited these themes, and the story of the Roanoke colony provides a fertile ground for such imaginative tales. Psychological and social experiments. Another conspiracy theory suggests that the colonists were subjects in some form of psychological or social experiment. According to this theory, they were either intentionally placed in harsh conditions to observe human behavior under stress, or they were manipulated into disappearing to serve as a warning to future colonizers. While the idea of experiments in this scale in the 16th century seems unlikely given the ethical and logical constraints, it has raised intriguing questions about the morality and intentions behind the early colonization efforts. Viral outbreak or other biological causes. Some theories propose that the disappearance of the Roanoke colony could have been due to a viral outbreak or another biological catastrophe. The theory suggests that the colony may have been wiped out by a fast-acting disease, either newly introduced from Europe or contracted from local flora and fauna, leaving no time for word to get back to England. While this might explain the absence of bodies or other evidence, it is not aligned with the Croatan carving, which suggests a planned departure rather than the sudden extermination. While these conspiracy theories add an element of intrigue and sensationalism to the story of the Roanoke colony, it is essential to approach them with a critical mindset. Most lack empirical evidence and are generally not supported by academic research. They often serve as more of a reflection of contemporary anxieties and fascinations than as viable explanation for historical events. Moreover, the proliferation of such theories can sometimes overshadow genuine academic inquiry. While they engage the public's interest, they can also misinform and perpetuate myths that hinder a deeper understanding of history. It is a double-edged sword. The same theories that have history come alive for some can also distort and obscure the complex realities that scholars aim to uncover. Thus, while considering these theories, it is important to differentiate between entertaining possibilities and verifiable historical facts. Responsible engagement with history requires a critical assessment of all proposed theories, whether they are grounded in empirical research or spring from the realm of speculation. Alright, it's time to conclude this story. The Roanoke colony serves as a mirror reflecting our own desires, fears, and curiosities. It is a narrative that has been woven into the fabric of American mythology, a tale that balances on the precipice between history and legend. As we continue to probe this enigma, it will undoubtedly yield more questions than answers, but that is perhaps its most enduring legacy. In a world where the unknown is increasingly scarce, the Roanoke colony remains an enigma that continues to captivate. Whether through rigorous academic inquiry or the imaginative realm of conspiracy theories, this story invites us to confront the unknown, challenging us to question, to explore, and to wonder. And in doing so, it reminds us that some mysteries may never be solved. But the search for answers is a quest that defines us as inherently curious beings. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If so, please like and subscribe, as it'll show you guys really do like it. If you guys have any topics you want me to talk about in the future, leave them down in the comments and I'll get a good idea of what you guys want to hear. If you guys watch any of my other videos, as I'll have this one in a playlist, the YouTube algorithm will like it and show my videos to others. I hope you guys have all enjoyed. I'll see you guys all next time. Until then, goodbye.